Hello, my beautiful friends. I hope you're all doing good and your walk is light. Been quite a while since I've done one of these, so this one will probably be long. What I'm going to talk about is kind of the whole we are all one thing. I was talking to my little buddy. My little buddy is my mentee. A better description of him would be an ex-girlfriend's son who I guess you could say took under my wing, but he kind of took me under his too. So he's a blessing and a pain in the ass. But I was talking to my little buddy, and he was telling me about a field trip that he took this past week. It was an overnight thing where they were doing kind of like a inter-school, I don't really know what you would call it, but they were doing this thing where each team was acting like a corporation. And kind of like that, whatever that show was with Donald Trump, The Apprentice, I think. They were doing something like that. Now, little buddy is not a dumb kid. Very smart, very entrepreneurial, very good with coming up with ways to make money. Let's put it that way. He ran one of the biggest underground snack distribution centers in middle school, which some people would frown upon, but I thought it was amazing. I even invested in it. But he's not somebody to be interested in the corporate environment. So I don't even know how we get onto this panel team. I'm just trying to figure that out. But anyways, he's a teacher fave, so I imagine they just threw him in for good humor. But he's telling me, hey, these Chads, I taught him the word Chad. I'm sure you guys all know what Chad mean. It's kind of like Karen. And I don't think he understands completely what a Chad is, but he kind of gets it. So he's like, all these Chads. And I'm like, who are you talking about the Chads? And he's like, all the other kids from all the other schools. So what? And he's like, well, they were all looking down on me, looking down on everybody else because we're from the city and stuff. And they were just assholes. I mean, he said they were assholes. I was like, okay, but why? He's like, well, they all thought they were better than us. And what I'm trying to get at, what this conversation's about is that one point. He thought, they think that he isn't worth what they're worth because little buddy's interested in DJing and music and stuff like that. And Chads are interested in the corporate environment, billionaire boys clubs, maybe becoming lawyers, doctors. I don't know. I'm not going to judge them. Whatever they want to do, they want a higher education and all that. And what I was trying to explain to little buddy is, I know that you look at those guys and you think, they think they're better than me, blah, blah. But they probably don't. And I thought this all my life. I explained to him how, up until just recently, I always hated the rich. I always hated anybody that was affluent, anybody that had more than me. We all do. Everybody does. So I hated people. I hated that, just like he hates what he's unfortunately learning how to hate. And so I'm trying to deprogram him at the same time deprogram myself at 51. Because if anything, he's now at 15, I'm asking that he starts deprogramming himself before he gets further and further conditioned like we all do. And what I'm trying to explain to him is that Chad doesn't think any less than you. Chad is just doing what Chad knows, what Chad does. Chad is doing what Chad does. If Chad is thinking that you're worth less than him, it's because it was programmed and conditioned in him that you are worse than him or worse off than him. It doesn't mean that Chad is so much the evil tyrant, bloodlines, secret cabal, Illuminati that we all may think. If Chad believes that you are a peasant and he is part of a royal bloodline, it is because Chad was programmed that way. Now, I don't know if any of you are following me. You said, well, okay, but they want to be they're corporate guys. They want to have their own job. Like, these guys are my age and they know all this stuff. I don't know anything about it. And it made me feel like an idiot. I'm like, yeah, but the thing is, I gave him kind of an example that I like to give in these kind of things. And this is touching on how ain't none of us really smarter than the other guy. I know that we all think that, oh, that guy's a genius. Well, he's a genius in what he does. He's probably not a genius in everything. If you asked him how many licks it takes to get to the center of a Tootsie Roll Pop, I bet you he wouldn't know the exact number. I mean, you don't want to talk about a genius. A genius is the guy that decided to take peanut butter and mix it with chocolate. That's a fucking genius. But anyways, so he says he's getting into the whole part where he feels dumber because he doesn't know that kind of corporate stuff. And I said, buddy, do you have any interest in that kind of corporate stuff? And he's like, what, like computer programming and working with numbers and all that? I'm like, yeah. And he's like, no, I have no interest in it. I'm like, then why would you do it? I said, the reason the Chads do it, some of the Chads are doing it, and I'll get back to some of the other Chads that probably aren't doing it for the same reason, but the Chads are doing it because the Chads find interest in that. But it doesn't make that interest of running numbers and working with computations and all that any more interesting or less interesting than DJing. So don't be mad at yourself because you are not considered smart enough in something that disinterests you. Do you guys get what I'm saying? Because plenty of people throughout time and going forward will waste a majority of their life trying to become so interested in something that they have absolutely no interest in and never will have interest in, just to impress others. Now, follow back how I led up to this. The Chads are doing what the Chads do. Some of them are doing it because it interests them. But ultimately, they're doing it because it will impress others by the prestige they'll get from whatever career that comes out of that learning. Little Buddy, at the same time, isn't more valiant or less valiant. Little Buddy is interested in DJing, so he's learned how to DJ. And then he becomes a great DJ, and he's DJing all over the world. Well, Little Buddy did it because it interests him, but he also did it because it interests others, and he wanted to impress them. We are all exactly the same. Whether we do for something that looks bad in your eyes, looks right in somebody else's eyes, and when you do something that looks bad in their eyes, it looks right in their eyes. The sad part, and this is getting back to the Chads that do it a different way, is that some Chads, or just some kids, let's just stop talking about between a DJ and a kid that wants to become a computer engineer. Let's talk about some kids, almost all kids. There'll be some kids that have no interest in something and do it because they thought not only that it would impress others, but it would make others proud of them, or it would increase the happiness of someone else, another Chad, say Dad Chad, while sacrificing their own happiness. There will be Chads that will wake up one morning and say, all I ever really wanted to do was paint houses. That Chad could wake up in a $1 billion mansion, could have solved the AGI problem, could be Elon Musk. But if Elon did all that just to impress somebody else, or to worse, make somebody else proud, and excluded their own happiness, nothing would matter more than that paintbrush. So don't feel like anything that you do is less perfect, and at the same time, more perfect than the things that others are doing. Don't think, well, Chad is smarter than me because Chad's making $5 million a year at some corporation, while I'm DJing over here at somebody's third wedding. Because while Chad might technically be making more money than you, and you may think Chad is definitely smarter than you because Chad's making so much more money than you, think about the genius that created the peanut butter cup. That guy knew peanut butter and he knew chocolate. I bet you he didn't know much else, but he knew that and he did well off of it. Elon Musk knows how to build rockets, self-driving cars, social networks that cause mayhem, but I bet you Elon Musk don't know nothing about selling an 8-ball on the streets. I bet you if I sat Elon Musk down in front of me and I said, Elon, here's a quarter kilo of Coke. I want you to divide it up, split it up, make enough 8-balls, go out there on the streets, sell it all. I'm giving you 1 week to do this and have my money. Elon, without looking at his AI, wouldn't know what the F to do. But I know mad fools that I grew up with that could do that shit in 3 days. Did they make as much money as Elon Musk? No. But they knew how to handle the things that interested them enough to make them happy in their own moment. Don't ever let another man hold you down, because most likely that Chad isn't holding you down. It's that Chad's own unhappiness that is holding you down. Don't worry about what Chad's doing. Worry about what you're doing. Shit, in 5-10 years, I told little buddy, a lot of those Chads, and I'm using that loosely, the term, but okay, say the affluent kids, those Chads, might get called out. I mean, out of the 100 people that watch this, somebody might call me out on labels and everything. But anyways, the sad thing is that a lot of those Chads that are trying to make their Chad dad proud, the things that they've been studying and gearing towards and basically missing all of their teenagehood, all the fun and all the freedom of being a teenager, they gave that all up to learn a job that will make Dad Chad proud that won't fucking exist in a couple of years. Bankers. You ain't gonna become a director of movies. You ain't gonna become a music director. They ain't gonna become just about sales is out the door. CEOs will be next. CFOs are already starting to lose their jobs. CTOs, which, by the way, I am a fractional CTO, about to be gone. All these big Chad jobs are gone. So while you think you're not smart enough, or you're not Chad level material, ain't gonna be a lot of robot DJs anytime soon. There will be eventually, and yeah, AI will do music and all that, but till you just weld for a living, guess what? Gonna be a lot of robots going around mechanic shops welding, or ain't gonna be any robots going underneath the water welding boats. Just a waitress? Well, I imagine sooner or later the robots will be doing that too, but for now, guys like me want to go in, they want to hear you call me sweetheart and darling, and sometimes give me some lip because I complain too much about my eggs. Chad doesn't know how to serve eggs. And like, I'm trying to keep this clear, like, I'm not blaming Chad. You know, I grew up with some kids that were their parents were pretty well off, and they hated being rich because they didn't fit in with us, or they felt like they always had to, like, you know, like, oh, don't worry, my parents will pay for it, blah, blah, stuff like that. But it doesn't change the fact that the person that you think's doing better than you, or the person that you think is smarter than you, or the person that you think is more beautiful, or takes care of their children better, or I don't know, does their hair better, whatever the hell the things that we all worry about somebody's doing better than us and I gotta try to do better than them. Remember, you're only trying to do better than them to impress others, not to impress yourself. So we all sit around and try to figure out ways that we can be better than somebody else, instead of just realizing that's not what I want to do. That doesn't really interest me, because I don't really see how any of us, after thinking about what I'm talking about right now, could honestly say that a majority of us, if not all of us, only do what we do because we're trying to impress others. And it doesn't even have to be directly impressing them by the work that you're doing. The things that come from that work. The big houses, the BMWs, the name brand everything, this and that. That's all. You do all that to impress people. I mean, why do you think all the YouTubers that do basically what I'm doing but have so many more views always have these wicked cool background rooms that they're in? They're trying to impress you guys. I'm not trying to impress anybody. None of us seem to grasp. And I'm not trying to pass judgment on anybody, because don't think like I've grasped this so long ago. I'm basically speaking off the cusp right now. Is that the the whole thing, that little buddy and myself and you and everybody else is always trying to impress somebody else, we don't realize that the only thing, person, whatever, being, whatever you want to call it, and I'm not talking about calling it your higher self, I'm not talking about calling it God or anything, because it is you. Whatever you is, when you say, I am, so I think, whatever quote you want to say, whatever you consider to be self, when was the last time you tried impressing that? And if you sit with that for a while, I can pretty much guarantee you that you will come to the realization that you have wasted a lot of experience time on impressing or trying to impress others, never really asking yourself, does this do anything for me? Does it interest me? Does it make me feel whole? Does it make me feel like I understand myself? You don't need any mantras. You don't need any mojo. You don't need to sit on your head. You don't need to be in a yoga pose. You don't need to do chakra, Reiki, or any of that other stuff. You don't need to go to church. You don't need to go to college. You don't need to do anything except for ask yourself every once in a while, have I impressed myself this week? Have I done something that is so far out of my programming, so far out of my conditioning, that it truly felt like it was done by me, for me? Not, oh, well, I did this thing the other day for Sarah, I did this thing the other day for David, and I did this other thing for my boss, and all those things made me feel good. They made you feel good because you realized that it may have made them feel good. But if you were told the next day by your boss that he actually didn't feel good, your night of glorious relaxation off of impressing him would collapse. That doesn't seem to happen when you do it for yourself, though. Very hard to upset yourself when it comes to impressing yourself. Because impressing yourself, I don't mean doing something that, like I just said, you're doing for somebody else and it makes you feel good. Making yourself feel good is not the same as thing as impressing yourself. Impressing yourself is doing something that you've never done, but you've always wanted to do. Or even doing something that you've never done that you just happen to do. Because you have experienced reality, life. You have experienced the experience for yourself. Not for the glamour or glitz of impressing somebody else's experience, but for your very own experience. All you have here is your experience. That's it. Everybody else's experiences are their experiences. You may be a part of their experience, but you are not their experience. So even when you impress them and it makes them feel good, you've increased their experience. And even if it makes you feel good for a little bit of time, but did it make you feel good because you did it for them? Or does it make you feel good because you did it for you? Again, I can pretty much guarantee you that it's for them. If something interests you, do it. Go do whatever you want to do. Do the thing you didn't want to do, but you think you can do it now, or do the thing that you think that you will never do because it's too freaking scary and insane. Go do it. If you die doing it, it's not my fault. Don't blame me. YouTube, it's not my fault. But even if you did that, say your favorite or your most interested thing that you're interested in is volcanoes, and you say F it after hearing this, and you go and buy a ticket and you go to, I believe Hawaii's got a volcano erupting right now, and you decide to go there, and you're gonna climb up to the safest point and take these amazing pictures and blah blah, but guess what? You fall over and you melt. It's gonna suck for a couple of milliseconds, maybe a couple of seconds. But how's that any different than never doing any of that and continuing in on that job that you can't fucking stand, that you only took to impress your Chad dad and your Chad mom? And then someday you're sitting at that desk that you despise, looking at all those people out in the office cubicles, trying to figure out why all these ants continue to come to the same maze every day. And as you're eating your Subway sandwich number 4 of the week, you choke and you die a violent death of choking that nobody else can even hear you doing in your office, thinking to yourself, all I ever wanted to do was go to Hawaii and stand on the rim of a fucking volcano. Take interest in what you like. Do what you like. Try not to hurt others along the way. You'll make mistakes. You'll learn from some of them. You won't from others. Experience the experience of being whatever this is being right now. Don't look for answers from gurus. Don't look for answers from the churches. Don't look for answers from the government. Don't look for answers from your parents. Don't look for answers from your teachers. Don't look for answers from anybody but you. And you're going to come to a lot of answers that are wrong, and you're going to come to a lot of questions that don't make any damn sense. But then eventually you'll find out that you've been running around chasing answers to questions you already know. You can take what I was saying earlier about not taking anybody else, their truth. Don't let another person's truth be your truth. You can take opinions, you can take advice, but don't go any further than that. Don't allow somebody else to tell you what your interests and your duties and your job and your life should be about, what your experience should be about. It's time for you to stand up for and against you. I love you all. Walk in light.